It's a sunny day out in Chicago, Illinois, with kids playing outdoors. The year is 1989. We see a quaint home in the suburbs where Michelle Robinson resides. She resides with her parents, a stay-at-home mother and an engineer father. We later learn that her father was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. This is why she stays with them. The scene starts with Michelle getting ready for a day of work. She is a hard-working, tall and pretty lawyer who works in legal aid. Michelle works as an advisor in a law firm for Barack Obama. Barack is a summer associate from Harvard Law. His father is Kenyan while his mother is white. Barack seems like a devoted and smart lawyer who shares a close relationship with his grandmother, Toot. The two are supposed to meet at a community event. Barack believes that this was to be their first date, but Michelle thinks it's inappropriate. This doesn't stop her parents from teasing her about her unofficial date. Meanwhile, Toot asks Barack details about his date and tells him that she's happy for him. Barack lights a cig, dresses up and leaves to pick up his date. Michelle tells him that he's late, a bad habit of his. He takes an appreciative look and apologizes for his behavior. The two take off in his rundown car. Michelle discusses how being a second-year associate doesn't make a difference at the firm. Even though she expects the workload, she seems displeased with the silence on pressing issues. They stop by at a music cassette vendor when Michelle realizes that their meeting is at 4 p.m. She figures out his intentions and instantly rejects the idea of dating. Being a woman of color, Michelle believes she needs to put in twice the work her male counterparts do. This leaves no room for her personal life. Disappointed with the outcome, Barack tries to convince her to give him a chance. She reluctantly agrees and they continue their date. They visit an African art exhibition at a local art center nearby. The duo look around where Barack recognizes a painting of Ernie Barnes. As they walk around, they share childhood stories with each other. The exhibit reminds them of their younger days. We learn that Michelle also has a brother, Craig, at Illinois Tech. His sister thinks that he is very smart, talented, and a decent basketball player. Craig had graduated out of Princeton and was even drafted by the Sixers, but he never got to play. Michelle mentions that she can speak French and learned to play the piano at 4. This impresses her date as he thinks she's quite the package. They continue to bond over food in the park where Obama shares his memories of Hawaii. Michelle takes note of his regular smoking. He also mentions that he'd spent some time in Jakarta with his mother before moving to Hawaii. He then tries inquiring about her love life, but Michelle quickly evades it. She shares life lessons her father taught her. Her family always stressed upon the importance of education. She continues to embody the teachings of her parents and stays grateful to them. Down the street they find a group of dancers and musicians whom Michelle joins. Barack stares at her in awe. They continue their ritual of sharing experiences. They talk about religion and his father. Barack talks about his unstable father. He died due to drunk driving at 46. His son believed that he was an incomplete man destined to have an incomplete life. Even his tombstone remains unengraved because they couldn't afford it. Michelle stays hopeful that one day Barack will do it. They finally leave for the meeting. On their way, they discuss their workspace and the inevitable racial differences they need to face. Barack thinks that Michelle continues to work hard for something she doesn't love. His words anger her and she sits offended. This leads to a quarrel between the two. They reach the neighborhood and walk past a wall that honors all the dead black men. Barack is scheduled to give a speech at the community church. When they arrive, they are greeted and welcomed warmly. The people are people he grew up with. However, everyone mistakenly assumes that Michelle is his girlfriend. She shuts down the notion quickly. Before the speech, a woman tells Michelle how Barack kept her son motivated to join the Navy. Her son now sails across seas. We see a young man, Tommy, come up to the podium. He tells them that they have institutions willing to fund their community center classes, even when they don't have one. The people are outraged by the council's decision to put down their center. They believe that their streets remain unsafe for children while the senator gets himself a church. People of the gardens seem hopeless, angry and tired with the way things are going. But their leader remains hopeful to change. He thinks Barack's words will inspire the masses to do more. Barack comes up to the stage and starts his speech. He understands the pain of the people and thinks of it as his own. But more so, he believes that success comes together as building blocks. These building blocks will eventually lead them to a brighter life. He tells them that they are actually in a better position. They now hold funds that weren't available before. This was one step towards their goal. The next is to secure a building. He reveals that the council's actions are always self-centered. Finding their mutual interest is key. This way the council remains satisfied and the people get what they want. He wants them to believe that there are good-hearted people in the council. These people are genuinely interested in the growth of the community. However, they don't believe that they can get it done, even if they wanted to. That's because no developer wants to build in the gardens. There's no money or profit to be made. Curtis thinks this means they need to build it themselves. Barack agrees. He thinks that changing their goals is the way. Change in perspective is exactly what Barack wants. His idea is to bring a way to refocus on land designation. The plan is to control a land property and cut a deal with a developer. They'll ask them to redevelop the entire community on the condition that they include the community center as well. However, they still think that their ideas will be rejected like always. To this, Barack tells them that they move forward regardless, that no matter what they continue to fight for their rights. He shares his reason for moving to Chicago. Chicago, Harry Washington. Harry Washington was the country's first black mayor. However, he too had to face the harsh reality of life. Bringing change was no easy feat. Barack understands that one person could never make a difference because of their constitution. He references his argument with Michelle. He tells them that they need to let go of judgment. While we couldn't possibly walk in another person's shoes, we could try. He shares the essence of America, a group of different states that can only stand united if its people tried. Michelle seems moved by his great speech. She thanks Barack for the invite. She expresses her longing for a real-life connection which was fulfilled. Michelle worries that she sometimes forgets her reason to fight. She eventually agrees that she was struggling with the firm. She then pokes at him for being a smooth talker who is smart. It was a good move to bring his date to a place filled with heartfelt stories by the people who loved him. She agrees that Barack has a good sense of speech. She too was inspired by his speech. Barack thanks her and exclaims that this was a good first date. Michelle is amused and denies any such thought. The two continue to poke fun at each other with a good view in front. By the evening, the couple takes their date to a bar. It seems like a popular spot amongst the crowds. With drinks in hand, they discuss their favorite singers. This time, Michelle tries to dig into Barack's dating history. He reveals that his last girlfriend was white. Jennifer and him were in a serious 2-year relationship. According to him, she was genuine and caring. However, he would always feel like an outsider in a white family, especially in Colombia. The two soon find out that they both came to Chicago to make a difference. Michelle wishes to work civil cases that empower women, but her bills and expenses made it difficult, so she ended up in corporate. Barack exclaims that he constantly assures himself by saying that he couldn't do worse than his father. His date, however, is not happy with this. She thinks Barack holds a lot of resentment for his father. He looks like he's struggling. Michelle understands his emotions and tells him about her grandfather. He wasn't a great provider for his family. She motivates him to forgive and forget. The scene cuts to the couple enjoying a movie together at the cinema. The movie seems to be centered around racial injustices people of color experience. After the movie, Michelle bumps into a colleague and his wife. They exchange greetings and notice Barack as well. Her co-worker animatedly introduces them to his wife. The men continue to discuss the movie. Barack's take impresses him and asks Michelle to take good care of him. Embarrassed to be caught, Michelle is not happy with the idea of them spending time together. She sternly tells him to not try convincing her. However, Barack is greatly affectionate towards her. He tells her that nobody really cares much about them. Michelle storms off, expecting rumors to spread in the office soon. The ride back home is silent and tense. Barack is unhappy with the outcome and tries to make up for it with chocolate ice cream. She smiles to herself and accepts his apology. On their stroll, Michelle offers some of her ice cream. Barack takes this chance to kiss in response. They share a sweet and slow kiss. The date comes to a fitting end and Michelle is dropped off at her home. The two reminisce about their day, love-struck and happy. They remain optimistic for their future together.